Grant Denyer now.
It's Grant Denyer.
The gold logie this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Denyer.
And our mum, Shezzy Denyer. She's really crazy.
It's all true. It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shezzy Denyer.
We really need to add George's name onto that.
God, we've said that for 7 seasons.
Yeah, I know.
We are the worst friends in the world. I'm sorry,
I think
George.
we should just rebrand the entire intro, to be completely honest. Just get new voiceovers, no offense to Dan, but just a bit of a refresh, a facelift to the podcast.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I was just thinking that myself because I won a gold logie quite a while ago now. Yeah. So it does feel a little bit dated, and we probably don't need to have that bit in there. Bit more George.
Well, different colours too. I love the pink. I love the turquoise, but I reckon we could just maybe get it a bit more sexier potentially.
What do
But
you
isn't
mean?
the old saying, like, if it's working,
just
don't
do it in a G-string? Like, is that what you
I'm
mean?
not doing that.
Those little emojis on the front of the podcast, yeah, have it that way. I reckon that'd be good.
Oh, you know, I was just thinking, somebody that I spoke to today who we know quite well is starting up an OnlyFans account
What the
selling
hell?
photos of their feet.
Bull.
Legit.
You're lying.
No,
Do I
legit.
know this person?
Yes.
Really?
Very well.
Is it your mum?
No.
Okay. Is it George's mum?
No. It's
Is it a prominent figure?
kind of, yeah.
Like people are keen to see their feet.
She's going to do it anonymously,
Is it a famous person?
sort of.
Right. Ooh.
It's a well-known person. Yeah, so well-known to us. And she knows a mum. What can I say that won't give away? So she's been talking to this mum who has started her OnlyFans account 3 months ago and is only showing photographs of her feet but in boots every day. It's a different pair of boots.
Well, that's not your feet. That's just a pair of boots. You could take a photo of just some shoes and put it up there.
No, well, they've got to be out. I don't know how it works, but out on location, out, in, I don't know, on concrete or, different standing
Photos
positions.
of your boots in different positions.
Yeah, and has been bringing in a decent amount of money.
What the hell is wrong with this world?
I know. And it's hurting my cheeks trying not to laugh, but this was a really serious conversation where this person has decided that they're going to do an OnlyFans account showing photos of their feet, and they asked if I wanted to join in.
What do you mean? You got to contribute shots yourself?
Yeah, did I want to send in photos of my feet because they thought that I would have nice feet, which is not right. And I laughed because it was only last week we were talking about
Shaving your
feet
toes.
and one hairy toe.
Yeah.
But apparently that stuff goes off.
This is what I said last week. I said there's probably a niche for this sort of freaky stuff where someone just likes a hairy female toe. Maybe you'll make the big bucks. Yeah, it's probably only it's a small niche group, but maybe a passionate and hopefully very rich group that likes that shit.
But what are they doing with these pictures of feet? And you get an extra $100 if you've got a really good looking athletic bunion.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Oh, you know who we should ring? Rihanna Crean.
Oh, yeah.
Should get her on the phone and get her to tell us some of the comments that she had.
So Rihanna Crean, she's a V8 Supercars commentator. She does a fair bit of television work, and she's also the partner of Will Davison, one of the V8 Supercar drivers. And she gets feet freaks hitting her up all the time, in her DMs about send me pics of your feet. And she did a triathlon and lost her toenails and put that photo up, and it was hard to look at. But apparently the feet nuts just loved it.
I think it's all well and good to get the people who put the feet pics up, but to actually speak to somebody who does have a foot fetish would be the go.
What's in it for them? You're right, mate. And what do you do with the pic? Are you just sitting there looking at it? You put it up on the wall? Is it your screensaver? Or are you getting freaky with it? What are you doing?
Are you putting your foot on that foot? Are you touching it through the phone? What's actually happening? Foot people, come out of your shoes and have a chat to us.
Is it a high five if you touch feet? Is it still a high five? It's weird.
I'm just looking up foot fetish to see. Look, Feet Finder, custom feet pics for sale, sexy feet pics for sale.
It's a website? Wow.
Look,
Fun with feet.
Yeah, you
Fun
can look
with
up names on
feet.
that site, actually.
Why am I attracted to feet so much?
Yeah, why are you?
Feet are often considered below people. That is, some people think of it as a lowly body part. That's what. They like to feel lower than their partner.
Oh, so it's like a power play thing?
Yeah.
So it's like a
Being put in
dominant
your
and a sub. I think that's what they call it. Yeah.
Oh my God, look at this. Make $1,000 a month by selling your feet pics online.
What the hell are we doing? Why are we all working? Why are we sitting in an office grinding out on our laptops under stupid UV lights,
This is
with the
so-
person in the cubicle next to us who we don't like? Why are we doing that?
But how many, what I want to know is how many feet people are there out there? If all these people are and I don't know, is it wrong to be selling?
No, it's right. No, embrace it, I say. I
Why
think
is
if
it
you're
wrong?
into it, just do it.
If there's a market for it, go for it.
It's the most common form, according to Wikipedia, it's the most common form of sexual fetishism
The most common out
Yeah.
of all of them.
for otherwise non-sexual objects or body parts.
So if you're not, so outside doodles and the boobies, the feet are next.
For a foot fetishist,
Yeah.
points of attraction may include the shape and size of feet soles, which is what Ash said, remember last?
He said, the extra for the soul.
Toes, jewelry, toe rings and anklets. Well, I get that. Sometimes that looks kind of cool. Treatments such as massaging, washing partner's feet or painting partner's toenails. State of dress. This is what she was talking about. So barefoot, flip-flops, ballet flats, high heels, hosiery, soft feet. Foot odor.
Oh, how do you convey that in a picture?
Oh. E.g. rubbing the foot, smelling, tickling, sensory interaction, or rubbing genitals on foot.
Rubbing your genitals on the foot. No, just hold your foot there. Just mind to drop these on there. Yep, that's it. Take a photo.
I think this has been something from the beginning of time. Remember when Jesus was washing all the disciples' feet? Like he got right up there in the feet, washing them. This has been going on for ages.
He's the OG foot
Oh
guy.
my God.
You're right. He loves
Jesus
the sandal.
has a foot fetish.
Loves the sandal so you can see the toes. Creep from way back.
Okay, well, there's nothing.
I
else
don't.
that's
It doesn't
of
do anything
interest
for
there.
me, George.
You
do you?
hate feet. You don't even like your own feet. Look, you got socks
I
on.
appreciate a good foot, but I don't get turned on by it.
No. Well, what do you appreciate about a good foot? Isn't it just merely just a device in which holds a human up and stops them from falling over so they can walk?
If the foot's like nice and smooth though, and it hasn't got any calluses on it, and the toenails are trimmed nice, so they can go. That's a well manicured foot or pedicured foot, whatever the word is. But yeah, I'm just not going to be, taking photos of it and using it for my nighttime sessions.
Sexual pleasure.
I don't find anything attractive about feet, but I reckon that I'm footist. Is that a term?
Footist is
Footist, as in, if I see someone with a big fungal infection under their main,
Jesus.
big toe, which for some reason there's quite a few males that have them.
More of your older males, but yes.
Some of them are your friends. No.
What?
I often go, ooh, that could be catching. So is that footist?
No, that's just grossest. That's anyone would have an issue with that.
But it's quite common, I think, in men to have fungal foot infections.
Oh, jeez, it's just the word is throwing me off. Bloody hell.
Bungle.
Fungal. The other
Yeah,
day,
what about, how do you feel about the cracked heel? George, have you ever seen like an extensively cracked heel?
What's
the
it's all
skin.
cracked up.
Yeah.
That's concerning to look at.
Yeah, that's a bit full
yeah,
on.
there used to be a nun
Yeah.
at my old school that had a really, really cracked foot,
Yeah.
and we didn't turn that off, and the cracks were so deep that I would stare at that a lot. So yeah, I'm not that
Quite
into it.
mesmerising, isn't it? Yeah, when you see them, they get Grand Canyon like. You know what I mean? They can get so deep that you think.
do.
I didn't even know there were that many layers of skin on the human body for there to be a crack that deep.
That is so true. Do you know?
It's like big cuts.
Yeah, big dried out cuts, and then
Yeah.
you have to get the pet egg to shave it
pet egg.
to shave it all off. The pet
Do you-
egg was like a
oh.
late night like infomercial where there's this it's kind of like it's like a cheese grater, but it's in the shape of an egg, and you rub it on your cracked heels, and it gets all the dead skin off like Parmesan cheese almost, and it all flakes to the ground.
Do you know, I once made Grant vomit because I said to him, like when we were watching it, I said, I'm going to get a pet egg and I'm going to empty the contents into your soup.
Jesus
because
Christ.
that was an old wives' tale that it's supposed to make you love the person forever. Do you remember that? It's like a really
I remember you
random,
threatening
like-
it, but I didn't know that was the potential outcome. Does that mean you've done it?
No.
Because,
But
mate, when you see the shavings of someone's foot skin,
that's gross.
oh, bleh, it's the worst.
Do you know,
Oh, my God, it's messed up.
on feet, I've got two stories. One story, I once threw a little bit of dried chip. I don't know if you remember this, but I threw it onto you and I was like, oh, my toenail came off.
Oh, God, yes.
Because Grant's not big into feet. And it was a bit of KFC dried chip. It wasn't real. But your reaction made me realise how much you don't like toenails.
I don't mind
Do you
your
guys
toenails.
actually clip your toenails or do you pick at your nails?
No.
No, I get the angle grinder out from the shed and just stand back, just watch the sparks fly.
The sparks go off.
Yeah. No, I'm a nail clipping guy because if I don't clip my nails, I get quicks and then the skin tears on the side. So and so I did the same with my toes.
And do you do it in the sink or do you do it outside on the grass? What's
Good
the go there?
question,
No, I go down the
George.
paddock about 900 metres away from the
Yep.
house, as far away from Chesney as possible, and I do it in silence down there, uninterrupted. No, I don't. I do it in the bathroom, and boy, do I cop some shit for doing it.
Because bits fly everywhere and he's not that great on going and collecting
Look,
them.
I'm not Jesus. I didn't decide that humans' nails should grow, okay? We all have them. They all grow. We have to do something about them. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
But Grant's nails and his hair grow faster than any other human I've ever met. Like Grant has a haircut every week.
Yeah, every 2.5.
That blew out quickly.
Yeah. Which is still pretty regular.
Every 2
Yeah, it
weeks.
is.
He like your hair, your nails, they grow. They're the fastest growing nails.
Yeah, they do grow super fast.
I only learnt the other day because I saw somebody who like had the nails put on, like all done and, painted up and stuff. And I only realized that it grows from the bottom of the nail. I thought it would grow from the top. Does that make sense to you guys? So
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But your nails grow from the bottom. So if they're glued on,
So what he's
So you
saying
know-
is when you put glued on nails on, they end up sort of moving further away from
Yeah.
the end of the
Yes.
skin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see your
spun
point.
out big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a boy, I can see your point. Yep. Only because I've obviously been around Chesney long enough and nails to know how they move. But you're right. You're right. I think as a kid growing up, I thought it was the ends that grew, not the nail base.
Same with hair, It was in that moment I'm like, oh, it definitely grows from the root then.
Actually, that's a very reasonable observation. Yeah. You know it because you see your nail beds sort of separating when you got fake nails on.
I've had a really weird relationship with fake nails. Like I used to chew them off in my sleep. I think I may have said that.
Yes, you have. And I don't enjoy lying in that bed after all those nail clippings have been...
And so if I'd had a really stressful couple of weeks and I would chew them in my sleep and Grant would wake up with fake nails all stuck to him.
I'd like to
the
just wake
next
up and on my cheek is like half a nail sort of sitting there.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, I can't talk.
People bite them when they're anxious, but do you guys have any sort of weird quirks when you're nervous or anxious or about to do something out of the ordinary? Like I shake my leg. I shake it really, really fast and I don't even know I'm doing it, but people go, oi, what's going on with your leg, bro? Like, calm down.
That's very ADHD. Like I used to do it a lot, but Grant used to always hold it. I can't remember where that was, but I used to always shake. I'm just trying to do it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister does it a lot too.
Does it all the
doesn't she?
time. Yeah.
Um,
I had a nervous twitch whilst hosting television shows, which became quite embarrassing, which was I would readjust myself as a what do they call that? When you have a compulsion? I do it as a reflex, like a
crutch,
not a twitch.
literally.
Yeah.
Nervous
a tick,
tick?
like a tick. So I'd have a tick when I'm deep in concentration and I do something. My hands have to do something, and so I would
Reposition.
I'd reposition without even being aware that I was doing it. So a few of the staff on Family Feud became aware of this and saw it, and they're like, "Hey, bro, don't touch yourself." And I'm like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And they said, "Come and have a look at this footage." And I was like horrified because I was, as part of this tick, my hand would just do that, would just readjust, and I had no idea I was doing it. So to get myself out of that habit, when I host, I hold the bottom of my jacket. So it gives my hand something to do, so it doesn't do anything else. Wow.
I remember you doing that a lot, like when you used to be really nervous before you would race.
Yeah.
You would reposition yourself in a race suit, and I reckon that's where it's come from, because they, weren't probably roomy enough down there.
Yeah, race suits are pretty funny things, and then you have to get them all in the right position because you're putting 5 race harness seatbelts, around your stuff. So you don't want to get your junk in the wrong position. Otherwise, you can really hurt yourself. You can either clip yourself in accidentally and pinch yourself, or if you've sort of got one of your boys, on the wrong side of one of the straps, there's a lot of forces in race cars, and one of them can get stuck and get hurt. So you're always trying to make sure they're in the right position when you do them up. So before you get in, you're right. When I'm nervous, I'd sort of get them all into the right position before I jump in the car. And obviously now it's become a nervous habit. So when I'm nervous on television and deep in concentration, I'm doing the same thing. Just a million people are watching.
And then it looks like you've got a fungal infection in your pants.
Yeah, it looks, when they showed me the footage, it was not good, kids. It was not good at all. But I'm so glad someone brought it to my attention. So what I would do sometimes when I'd go behind the podium on Family Feud, there's a podium in the middle where people press the buttons. So I'd go behind there and I'd have a little jingle where no one could see, just to sort of get it out of the system, if that made sense. So
a little jingle to get it out of the system.
Yeah, just a little, just get everything in the right position. And
how long did the jingle go for?
No, like just a nanosecond, just to sort of get it out of my system. You know what I mean?
So if we watch old clips of Family Feud, we can watch you walk behind the podium and go, like that.
Yeah. Maybe I've just got terrible fitting undies. I don't know. Or maybe maybe my dick's too big. I'm not sure. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the latter. So look,
it's definitely not my washing.
God just dealt me a hand, and I'm just rolling with it. Okay. Curse.
I think you also have a sensory issue with undies that are too tight. Yeah, because I remember when I had to go and get you a whole heap of undies, and they were asking for centimeters, like for, crutch centimeters or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. So I said, well, he's small in pants. And they were like, oh, that doesn't mean anything.
No, Exactly. Listen up, everyone. It doesn't mean anything.
And the guy who was serving me was gay, and he made everything sound really sexual, and it was like a bit uncomfortable. But I said, "Oh."
So what did you say? Show me. Is it one hand? Is it 2 hands?
No.
What is it? How big is it?
I was like, well, he wears small pants, and he goes, "Oh, honey, that doesn't mean anything." And I was like, "Oh, right. Well," and he goes, "Well, how satisfied are you?"
Oh my God, Jesus. Wow.
And so anyway,
I'm not going into that shop to buy undies.
I bought it. It was in Melbourne. It was like not a normal
You're like,
shop.
come over here, handsome. I got a measuring tape.
And so I brought home all these undies, and you hated them. You were like, oh, they're scratchy, and they're like,
they were tight.
And they're tight. They're too tight. And so I had to go back and see this guy, and he was like, oh.
You lucky girl.
Yeah.
You got a big boy there, don't you?
2 sizes up, please.
You sure you don't want to give me his phone number? You know what I'm saying?
And so we ended up with like very large undies. But what I realized is that you have a sensory issue with
tags.
Do you ever go
fabrics
without undies?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Do you, George? Oh, hold on. Do you have a nervous tick?
Just that leg twitch thing is my nervous twitch, and I like to put my hand like on my chin a lot too, like I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'll watch back on a lot of videos, in fact, these podcasts, and I'm a very sort of inquisitive looking bloke, but don't say too much because I'm just holding it right here.
I frown a lot.
It works. You look very
does.
engaged. You look like you're really enjoying whatever you're listening to, and
Yeah.
that makes the storyteller, the person speaking, feel very special. So even if you're completely vagued out and not listening whatsoever, as long as you put your hand on your chin, we're like, wow, George is really into this story.
That's a
Yeah,
good.
every single story. I love it. I'm just sitting there thinking.
That's a
No, what was the undies question though? Sorry.
Do you wear them?
Oh, do you ever?
No, I don't.
What's it called? Free balling.
You boxers, or are you just a nothing man?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh,
I think there's
Struth.
nothing more freeing than
What?
going to work with no undies on.
You're full of it,
for
aren't
real?
you?
No, I do. Of course I wear undies.
Oh,
of course I wear them.
Well, I don't know. The young people of today have all these new, fandangle.
You need support, otherwise you're going to hurt yourself, I feel.
Yeah.
At least in my case.
Yeah, I'd agree
What
with that.
you mean? Like you'll turn a corner and you think you'll accidentally knock it?
No, you'll turn a corner and that just might, they might sort of fall over the seam of your pants, and who knows?
Who wasn't there somebody famous who bent down and like their bits popped out? What was that?
That was Lenny Kravitz.
Was that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Lenny Kravitz, and he had like ripped jeans, and he bent over on stage, squatting, either playing the guitar, I think, and
He
Might have
would
been like
wear
leather
no,
pants.
He would wear no undies.
he'd have a really big schlong too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he'd be a well packed unit.
how do you know
Happened
that?
for Harry Styles too.
I
His
saw
pants
that the other
recently.
day, right in front of Jennifer Aniston.
What happened? I didn't
He
see that.
dropped down to his knees to belt out a bit of his song, and his pants ripped, so he jumped back up quickly.
Did he have undies on?
He had to run off, and he was still mid song. He had to run behind the drummer, I think, and get like a cloth and hold it over the front so he could finish the song.
cloth.
So he didn't have undies on. Why don't you?
You couldn't see. I couldn't see anything in the video. I looked.
Why doesn't anyone own it? Like, just rip it off. Remember, like, I was gonna say Old Love, who had the nipple. What was that? The wardrobe malfunction. Was it
Not
Janet
Whitney-
Jackson?
Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake at the NFL
Yeah. Like, we're so scared of just letting, like,
Super Bowl.
letting.
Well, but you got to remember, that's the biggest moment of television. It was G-rated time slot, massive Bible Belt in America.
But she didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, it was a stage stunt. She had like a special thing all over her nipple when he ripped her top off.
That's right. No, that's not the one I was thinking.
So it was outrageous. I remember that being the biggest thing in the world. Like, it was so shocking that someone
Planned
and
it.
there wasn't even a nipple. It had that little star or something on it.
Yeah.
But it was like America was outraged
Yeah,
Like,
that's
what?
right.
over this.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I've always had a question about live TV. Like back when you were doing the Sunrise stuff, in the studio itself, there's the glass window behind the panel.
Yeah.
What if there's having a very serious conversation with our Prime Minister at that desk
Yep.
and somebody has just got their bits out behind them and the entire shot, like no matter where you put a camera, there's a glass window there with the PM and a penis next to him.
Why don't you go and
'Cause
try
there's
it
a-
tomorrow?
There's a
Around a Martin Place.
There's a very tough man there who headed up security called Roy.
And he'd be on to you. I'm surprised it actually hasn't been done more, to be honest.
He would like put you in a headlock and take you out, and they had
There's actually security there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
yeah. I don't wonder if Roy's still there.
Don't know.
He was
a
there
good
for
fella.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I really
Yeah,
liked
so
Roy.
there, I'm surprised there hasn't been more instances of flashing. Yeah.
They're pretty onto it though. Like
They can frame it out
Yeah.
quickly. They don't show it as much as they used to, mind you. Yeah, they now have big sort of screens that they tend
And I've
to
noticed
reference.
that because I saw it the other day and I saw that they're using a different shot from behind. Like rather than looking out into the glass, into Martin Place, they're using a shot from a different part of Martin Place.
I just projected onto the screen.
Yeah, and I wondered if maybe I don't know why they would do that, but maybe because it's a busier part since,
I reckon-
COVID hit.
I
and
think
it's-
I've always found it distracting that someone's in the background with a sign sort of waving while you're listening to some expert talk about, something important. There's someone holding up a sign saying, "Hi, Mum, in Tamworth."
I know, but there's also a real organic niceness about that too. And
Oh, yeah. The
Was it-
fact that it's a destination, people will travel there as tourists to sort of
Yeah.
say hi to their families. That's fine. When, in little spots across the morning. But yeah.
they did rope it off well, I mean, it's been a long time since we worked there, but they did rope it off, you know, for certain parts. Because part of my role was the Sunrise fan manager, and so I used to go out and talk to people and find out stories and, you know, bring them in for different chats and stuff. And there was some really, really cute people who were out there.
Okay, so it's season 7. This is episode 2, and
Yeah.
I've never asked the question, could we potentially get the cash cow onto the show and speak to the cash cow with a moo decoder, you know, maybe someone who can translate what the moos mean?
Oh, yes. This is a great idea because I reckon the cash cow's got some amazing stories to tell.
Been some places.
You know, been some joints, handed out cash. People have lost their shit around the cash cow. The cash cow is just as popular as the show itself, you know what I mean? Like, you going down to Martin Place, the Sunrise, you want to see the cash cow. Cash cow, I reckon, could write a book for sure. Maybe we get the
I
cash
was the
cow
cash
on.
cow once.
It'd be a bestseller.
Shezzy was the cash cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you saying there's not one particular person playing the cash cow? It's a shared role, maybe?
Am I breaking any
Nah,
like,
mate,
TV
you can tell.
laws?
We're all friends here.
Yeah. No, I was a cash cow for a fill-in once. Yeah. And I had to sit on the bonnet of a car. I remember the Nissan Murano, I think, and be like,
Oh, yeah, do your pointing.
yeah. And like,
It was a communal suit, and it
Yeah.
absolutely smelt like a communal suit. That thing
pretty gross.
stinks.
I don't know. It was just usually the guest greeter when we were there would put it on. I don't know who
Some
wears
sort
it
of,
now.
if you're a minor junior role in the show, then that's what you end up getting. You get the
Work
cash
experience.
But it was cool because you used to have fun doing it. I mean, when we worked there, it was a really fun workplace, wasn't it? Like, you know, can't even remember when that was. It feels like a long time ago.
I think it is. But, you know, you get to hand out cash to people, you know,
That is-
who need it. That's
That is
one of
gold.
life's greatest experiences. That's the best thing about being a game show host is you are a human ATM. You know, you're just handing out money to people who are in tight spots, you know, or, you know, maybe they need their roof fixed or their fence fixed or a medical procedure or their car just completely crapped itself and they can't afford a new one. You know, you're there to rescue the day and give them like a massive wad of money. It's that's the best feeling in the world.
It is a great feeling. I'd love to be like one of those super duper rich millionaire, billionaire. Well, you have to be a trillionaire nowadays, don't you?
Just handing out like
Yes.
crazy amounts of money. Well, that's what
Yeah.
everyone does on YouTube now. So every
Yeah,
YouTuber
but
does it. Like
that's-
Mr. Beast, he does
Yeah,
it.
but how real is that? Because who has actually tested this Mr. Beast? Like, because my kids are obsessed with that. They're like, he gave away 100,000.
Yeah, I call bullshit on the amounts.
Yeah.
I know he's making a ton of money because his videos are so enormous and he is being paid a lot of money, but I call bullshit on most of the amounts, right? In fact, when I was in LA, I was walking along in West Hollywood and I saw some YouTubers, right? And they were filming and this is so funny. This is why it's sick, right? Help someone. Yep, no drama. The fact you film yourself helping someone, is that help? Or are you just doing it so you look like a good guy? You know what I mean? If you help someone, don't tell anyone. You know what I mean? Don't do it for the gratification of everyone knowing that, oh, look how amazing I am.
What were they helping them do?
So I saw them walk down the street and there was a homeless man's tent, right? So they've gone, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go get this hungry guy, just some food and wish him well. And we're going to make his day. And you can see him doing the piece of the camera. He's holding the food in his hand, right? And he walks along and here we go now. I can see a homeless guy over there. He could really do with a great feed. And then he gets to the front of this tent and he's sort of like knocking on this tent. Hello? And he's like, there's no answer. Hello? Do you want some food? Like nothing. And then he sort of just puts it down and just sort of walks off, right? And then they're like, oh, that was shit. And you're going, hey, wow, you are doing this all for the wrong reasons. This is gross. So they thought it was terrible because that, you know, the guy didn't come out and thank them for being so awesome.
he might have been dead.
We might have been dead.
Like, he might have frozen. Oh, no, it was hot.
But it just felt like the whole of LA was just full of these YouTubers just trying to look like amazing people by, you know, And look, that's a $4 feed, right? In LH, food's really cheap.
Yeah.
But you're doing it for millions of views, and there's just something, I don't know, there's
Something
something
gross
wrong
about it.
with that. I did see one by Mr. Beast the other day. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna give 100 people their eyesight back." This was his promo, and it's like, what? So I think he's paying for like 100 operations for people to have some sort of return of some vision.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Well, I don't know if they're fully blind or if they just need a procedure to get some amount of vision back, but it was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I love it also too.
Or go dig a well in Africa, or go build an orphanage somewhere, in Asia. Or
What about half the people in Australia who can't afford, remember when we were talking to the Smith
School
family, like they
supplies,
can't afford
yeah.
school supplies.
particularly at the start of this year, that really weighs
Far
heavily.
out. Like, anybody who's renting is really struggling.
Yeah.
But everybody's struggling. Like,
To get a fresh uniform, that year's books, to get the kids sorted, the school fees, that is a lot.
I did like a breakfast charity at a public school with a low socioeconomic background, and I would go in once a week and make breakfast for them. It was like called the Breakfast Club, and it was every Thursday. And the number of kids who came in who were not offered breakfast, whether or not their parents didn't wake up, they weren't given any food to take to school, they didn't have their hair brushed, and there was so many of them, and they'd come up and they were like, "Can I please have some more?" And we're giving them like, I don't know, Wheat Bix, and yes, you can have some more. Yes, do you want some toast? And then they'd like kind of take a bit of fruit for later, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's on a really small scale.
And that's in Australia.
That's in Australia. So like that.
Well, there's no doubt that families are financially hard up against it, right? But
And it's scary.
to think that just in your community, like where you live right now, kids are going to school without food
Yeah.
for breakfast to kickstart the day.
I've seen
is
people
tough.
also, in tears because their card won't work and they've filled up their car with petrol. That was last week, like that. Yeah, I said to you, and that I saw this woman who was trying to buy. It was in winter. She was in Big W somewhere, I won't say where, but she was trying to buy her kids Spencers. Like long,
What do you
like
describe a Spencer?
like a long sleeved kind of thermal top, to put underneath your clothes, I guess, to keep you warm.
Thermals.
Yeah, like thermals, but they're not. They're
Right.
know. And she was trying to, like, she had, I don't know, must have had 4 or 5 kids, and she was trying to work out the prices, and she was there, and she's going, and she's, it's just heartbreaking. She's like counting coins, in her hand for these
This is just
for
to
these
keep
things.
your child warm. The winters are cold here, and that's not a luxury item. You know what I mean? That's it's
That was just heartbreaking.
far out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And then the look of embarrassment when I said, can I give you, $20? Because it wasn't very much. Like just it's
mate, you could have filmed it and then been like a YouTube star.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But you know what I could?
Sailor, get the phone out. Film.
I couldn't.
Mum's been a good Samaritan. Quick, film it. Put it straight to
No.
TikTok.
I could go and give some, but like if there was a company.
Well, that's why we're involved in the Smith family. It's for that kind of reason.
but if
It's to
they-
help families kickstart, their schooling year, because we know it's a big financial plunge for many and they can't afford it. So we sponsor a couple of kids for that reason.
Yeah, I'd love to get like a big, I don't know, supermarket or something to give us some vouchers, and I have asked some vouchers to give away to people so that they can, buy groceries, because that's also, that's hard.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's like and it's scary. So all these things you've got to look forward to, George, when you have. How many kids did Flavia say you're gonna have?
I think it was 2. Do you think the cost of living, like for you guys, say 20 years ago, compared to now, and seeing people around you struggling to get these Spencers or to get simple things that usually were okay and easy enough to get? Like, do you think it's definitely worsened now?
I don't. Well, I lived with a single mum, so 20 years ago, I was 20 ish. So at school, yeah, it was tough for my mum for sure. You know, she went without things for herself, just so she could ensure that we had, you know, fresh shoes for the year. And yeah, our shoes sort of had to last a little longer than some others, but we always sort of had, you know, new ones to kick off the year. Maybe another pair, maybe one other time of the year as they wore out. But yeah, that was a huge stretch from my mum. Yeah, I think. But to have a look at how much rents have gone up though since that period, and home ownership and the price of houses and mortgages. I just don't know how, you know, people do it. We don't have a lot of work on at the moment ourselves. You know, we know how how tough it is and how expensive it is.
And petrol. Petrol. The other day I drove around and I looked at 4 or 5 different petrol stations, and because I was talking to someone and they said that they did it, and I was looking at the prices and I'm going, oh my God, it's so inconvenient. To save yourself like some good dollars, you have to go to some random tiny petrol station. And I kept thinking, oh, maybe they fill their fuel with water. Does that happen?
No, not with water, because that would blow up your diesel car.
Yeah, well, that's what I was worried
But there
about.
are different levels of quality fuels.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So some have a bit more of a more premium blend.
Yeah.
And some have a bit more of a sort of
Because I've heard
the bottom
stories
of the tank, sort
of people who, well, my parents' car, they like got water in their
Does
engine.
happen.
Yeah.
So it can happen. So now modern diesels if diesels get it, it's really bad. It's like it can just instantly blow up your engine. But now they have like water separators in a modern diesel, so it doesn't happen. But you got to remember those tanks are underground at a service station. So if they're not really well built or maintained, or maybe they're really old, a massive amount of rain, water can sort of make its way into the tank. Usually what happens, water and the petrol will separate. But yeah, you can get it in your tanks, but it's really bad for diesels if it happens.
Could we get a show going called Denya Dollars, and you guys just go out onto the streets of Australia and look at somebody and go, here's a Denya dollar, and you just give away $5,000 to every person you see for the next 5 years.
Can we make them do something for it just so it's a little bit more entertaining for our YouTube channel?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but what if they're really poor? We could give them like $1,000 and you know, that could be life-changing for a lot of people.
Not 1,000 isn't life-changing, but it gets people out of, you know, a lot of, holes, you know, gets them through a pickle. You got to be careful with the term life-changing. We kick this around a lot when we make television shows, as you know, because you might give away, you know, 10,000, you might give away 50,000, and a lot of TV shows claim that it's life-changing, you know, but I think it's got to be pretty up there for it to be genuinely life-changing.
I reckon if someone gave me $1,000, I would feel that was pretty life-changing.
Oh, it'll change your life for that month.
Yeah, do you know?
But maybe not for that life, your whole life.
Today I was trying to put on makeup and the dog did a poo, the puppy, and so I was thinking, oh my God, this is disastrous. So I bent down to wipe it up. Thankfully it was in the bathroom. Bent down to wipe it up, split the dress that I had on right up the back, okay? Yeah. Stood up, got hooked on the door handle.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so in about, I don't know, probably 30 seconds, I reckon, and I kicked my toe. I reckon that if somebody would have turned up then and said, here's $1,000.
You would have cried?
I would have cried, yeah. Even if they would have said, here's a button, I would have cried.
I do love it when TV shows do that. Like, you know,
that is
I was just watching A Current
powerful.
Affair the other day, and then I think it was a family whose air conditioner broke, and it was supposed to be maybe $1,200 to fix, but it ended up being $17,000.
What?
Yeah.
How much is a new air conditioner?
$17,000, and they were like, they just couldn't afford it. But like all the viewers of the TV show were just threw a couple of bucks in and bang, you know, and watching the relief when, you know, the reporter, and again, it's being filmed, and you know, I understand TV to be successful, ratings have got to be high, and it's a bit of a stunt. But the fact that someone benefits from it as a result, and you see the overwhelming relief on them, and the fact they just break down crying, and the husband's going, "No, you can't," but you can just tell the pressure that they were under.
Oh my God!
To try and cover that.
This is probably a really good place now to.
Let's just do that for a living. You're right. Fuck this podcast. Let's just go give out heaps of cash to people.
Let's just rename the podcast like.
We need to go to.
We gift you.
We need to meet Twiggy Forrest and just hold him upside down, shake all the cash out of his pockets. Like the world's richest Australian.
He's a big philanthropist.
Yeah,
though,
he is.
Isn't he? So
just say, give us your money and we'll distribute it for you. How much fun would that be?
that would be awesome.
He's got a bazillion.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, maybe we should get Mr. Beast to come out. No, I don't know. He doesn't have any money. What I did want to say was, I did my first GoFundMe. What do you call it? Campaign?
Yeah,
or
campaign
thing. A few weeks back, and that is a really good system. That is so.
It's brilliant, isn't it? This is
Yeah.
where technology, you go, okay, is it good or is it bad? This is a wonderful example where it's completely enhanced our lives.
Yeah.
And helped others because, you're right. So if you're not familiar with it, it's a website, it's a platform where you go, you know someone who needs some help, you set up a little campaign, people can just add $1 or $2, and then before you know it, you've raised the amount for that person and they can get whatever it is that they need.
So the story. Okay, so here we go.
I feel like we're going to get the long version here.
No, I'm trying to think of the short version. So I know a lady who puts all of her money into animal rescue, and she rescues lots of dogs and lots of horses. So a lot of people get miniature horses, which I didn't even know was a real thing, or ponies, but mostly miniature horses, because they're I don't know, they look cool. They're really cute when they're foals, and then often they get abused because they've been bought by people who don't know how to look after horses.
Plus they also do have an attitude, little horses. They can be feral.
No, ponies, but these are miniature horses.
Oh, right. So even smaller again.
So they're like, I don't know who would buy them, but I guess people.
Are they like the size of it, like a big Alsatian or something?
They're a little bit bigger, I think, but they're really, really cute, really sweet. But people buy them when they're foals, and they pay a lot of money for them, and then often they get abandoned or abused. And so this woman has taken them in and has made it her mission to look after dogs, lots of rescue dogs that people don't want. And also these horses. And so she got broken into, and I found out about this, and she'd lost everything. So she had like a secondhand TV. She had somebody had donated, I think, a VCR. She had some jewelry, but not worth any value to anyone. But it was it meant something to her. And
sentimental value.
Yeah. And she had some cash put aside because a lot of the animals need regular medical care. She's on a disability pension. So she really rations, the money that comes in so that she can put some aside for the medical supplies for these animals. And so she got robbed, and she was shell-shocked and absolutely gutted. And just could not believe that people could be so cruel, because she felt like she really didn't have anything of value.
But they just took it anyway.
But they took it anyway and ransacked her house. So that absolutely devastated me.
And she was struggling to pay for the food for these animals that she rescues, right?
Yeah, and also for herself and for fuel, because fuel costs, is a lot. And she has a very old car that's reliable, but does chew up a lot of food because she puts all the animals in the back. And so when I found out about this, I was really upset, because I'm such a big empath, and I could never be a horse or animal rescuer because I'm not that patient. But I really have respect for people who are, and she's a beautiful lady. So I asked her if she would be okay if I started up a GoFundMe account. I mean, she lost $1,800, I think, that she'd put aside, which was going to last her for, a really long time. And she'd saved it for a long time. And I wished that I had, that kind of money spare, which, I didn't, but feel free to sponsor the podcast. And we might.
We'll pass on your wonderful donation to this lady.
And so anyway, I thought, well, what can I donate to her, to help? So I started a GoFundMe, and the whole process was incredible. So within 24 hours or 48 hours, I had a total of $2,000 that I wanted to reach, because that would pay back the cash that she had. Plus it would also allow her, this is what I was thinking, to buy another TV, like a secondhand cheap TV, even though she said that she would just go without.
And keep feeding the animals.
Yeah, and keep feeding the animals. And so anyway, she agreed after a little bit of negotiation, because she just kept saying to me, which is it's so common for people who are real charity cases to feel like there's someone much worse off, that they don't want to take up resources because there's somebody much worse off than them. And that's what she said. And anyway, 2,300, I think, we raised in 48 hours, say, from all these beautiful people. She could not speak. Deb she just was speechless, and she just kept, crying and couldn't speak, which is beautiful. But
it was easy for us to do. Like and setting it up was effortless, wasn't it?
So effortless,
so quick,
so easy. And then they've got all these checks, so they check her ID, and then she can withdraw it. And I got to post like a big thank you, and people felt good. And there was people who put in $5. There was people who put in $100. They didn't know this woman, but they just, from my description of her. And that's what I said to her. I said, I'm a storyteller by trade, so let me tell your story and we'll see if we can, get some money. And it was amazing. And I should also mention that there's a pet food brand, Vetalogica, who she got all her pet food from. And I reached out to them and told them about her story, and they donated a whole heap of dog food to her. So hi to Scott from Vetalogica, which is like a Hunter Valley brand.
People are pretty good. People are pretty bloody good, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think if you watch the news, you'll feel down that we're all going backwards as a race, that things are, on the slide and there's no good in the world. But then you'll just do something very small like this, and then you realise at the heart of everything, people are bloody good.
People are essentially good. There's a Bill Fund Me or there's a new app that's been devised that you can put your bill on there. Have you heard of that?
Well, and people can help pay
People can help pay your bill.
Wow.
Yeah, and electricity is the number one bill, apparently.
Oh God, yeah. Sorry, you going to say something,
Yeah,
George?
sorry, George.
No, I was just going to say, like, you hear that story and we're all sitting here in the studio just smiling and feeling really, really good. And I'm sure there's people listening as well. And I don't think there's enough of these moments in life, to be completely honest. So, thank you for sharing that. That's and doing that too. It's made people smile and obviously helped her out a lot too.
Yeah, definitely. There's also a little part of me that was like, have we just done what I accused those YouTubers of doing?
Not at all.
I didn't mean to. I didn't need to say how good are we, but we just wanted to let you know.
I'm definitely not saying.
I know you're not, but
No.
we just want to let you know that these options and services are available.
Maybe
you got someone who just needs a medical bill covered, or we've just gone through this process. It's really easy to do. You might find it actually quite easy to help someone in need.
Yeah, and I wrote back to GoFundMe and I said to them, what a great little setup. I mean, I've often donated to people's GoFundMes. There's a lot of heartbreaking stories, and I just loved the fact that so many people who, a lot of them I don't even know, wanted to offer up $10
But that feeling,
that's life-changing. Well, it was life-changing for her to use that term. It was.
That feeling, it's too big a problem. What can I do? What impact am I going to really have? You know what I mean? This takes it, you don't need to solve the whole solution. you can now just contribute just the tiniest, most effortless little bit, and that collectively makes a massive difference. So, before I would look at someone's situation and go, oh, it's so big, it's so bad. What could I possibly do? But now they make it so easy where you actually can.
Yeah.
And it's a good system. Good on your internet. Good on your bloody, Silicon Valley.
Should the podcast have a GoFundMe page?
Well, maybe.
Send your foot pics in here. Just click on the tab.
Oh, maybe that's what. Maybe I'll start up an OnlyFans for feet pics.
Do you think we should just do it and just see what happens? Maybe should we do it as just a project? Should we do it as a project and just continually update where we're at with OnlyFans? It's pretty funny.
Do you reckon?
I'm more than happy to be a guinea pig.
Yeah? I think we need to do this.
Christian Hull, he's just gone on OnlyFans and he was saying...
Australian comedian.
Yeah, he was saying that he's earning a fortune. I don't know how.
He's probably taking photos of his doodle, though. I'm not sure. Would he be?
Oh,
Is he doing nudes?
I actually don't know.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's taking.
To be fair,
he's getting pretty. He was not one who really was in love with his body. He'll admit, but now he really loves who he is.
Yeah.
So I hope he is going the whole hog.
I want to know who uses OnlyFans. Like, who are the people who are subscribing?
I have a lot of mates who have it.
Okay.
I subscribe to pages.
So what do they subscribe to?
What
and what are they?
Are you going to throw them under the bus by telling us what it is that they are looking for or watch on there?
Well, all I'll say is that I've also got a lot of female friends who are on OnlyFans who actually do their thing. And I don't know what kind of content it is exactly, but I know that it's pretty racy, judging by the profile picture.
Okay.
So I dare say it's people just curious to see what their friends look like.
Yeah, right. So
I wouldn't
maybe I can get in there and just take a bit of cheeky side boob action and put it up and see how it goes.
I don't even like people looking at my cleavage. I don't want anyone looking at my. Oh, do you know? Was it 3 weeks ago or something? I bought swimmers I went into this shop and I bought a pair of swimmers, and I needed something that was really lifted your boobs up because I've had 3 kids and they're sitting down quite low, and so I bought a really structured bikini top, thinking I could just sunbake. And then I put the pants on and I was like, whoa, these are a bit brief. And so anyway, I waited for the little lady to come in and the little girl, and I said, excuse me, these are a bit brief. Is there another pair of pants? And she said, oh, yes, there is. So she came back in with another pair of pants, which were even briefer. Like, I'm talking like a G-string. And she came back and I said to her, well, they're like a G-string. And she's like, well, technically it's called Brazilian bum or something like that. And I said, oh, like at the front, I feel like you can see my vagina. And she was laughing. And why are you laughing? Why is that funny? Because I feel like they're so brief that you can see every lump and bump.
Did you have it on backwards?
No, I didn't. And then I said to her, look, I've got a hernia here and it's a lump, and I could see her eyes glaze over, and I thought, I've turned into one of those old bitches, really boring.
We've now become the people we were slinging shit on over 10 years ago.
And I was like, I'm really sorry to bother you, but is there any full briefs? And she was just like, they're not very flattering. And so then I kind of got old people shamed into buying the lesser brief pants.
Yeah.
So I wore them, right, at the pool, not the pool, our pool. I wore them. Okay, I came out and feeling like a little bit timid, but it was only my family. And Grant was like, woo! Yeah, they are
pretty
the
damn good.
Sexiest pants
That
ever.
shop assistant did me the world of favours. That was hot as hell.
And so the kids thought that this was amazing. And so
His dad's eyes have jumped out of his head. And
Yeah,
they're
they
like, we've
were
never
like-
seen Dad do that. What's happening?
yeah, and he kept making these really gross, whoa, yes, do that again. Or I couldn't even remember what I was doing.
I've dropped my sunscreen. Can you pick it up for me?
He was just being like funny, creepy funny. And anyway,
Being a loving husband is what it's called.
4 days later, I put the swimmers on again and went for a swim with the girls. And the girls were like, Mum, we have to take some really sexy photos for Dad because he just thinks that you look so beautiful in those cozies. You should wear those cozies all the time.
Yeah, down the street,
No.
to church,
No.
McDonald's drive-through.
No. And so I've now got a dilemma where I'm trying to teach my kids, positive body image. And at the same time, I'm also trying to not flash too much of myself. Does that make sense?
You're trying to walk the right line considering our kids are 7
yeah.
and 11, our eldest two. Yeah.
And so they're like, Mum, you should put on Instagram a photo of yourself in your swimmers. Dad thinks they're really sexy. And I'm like, yeah, nah. So the thought of flashing something on OnlyFans is like...
Hang on a second.
Sickening.
There's a bit more to this story. So she did end up taking some photos with the girls. They were like taking some poses. I'm away. I'm somewhere else, right? Now, all our devices are all connected. We've got family sharing. So I go into my photo app and all of a sudden all these photos are coming up of Shezzy pulling sexy photos in this swimwear. And I'm going, right, she's cheating. She's cheating. These are obviously for someone else. I'm away. I can see these photos popping up on my phone. What the hell is happening?
Except when you get to the fourth photo, you see the girls like they're holding one bum cheek each, and then like yeah. So it was a joint. And the
pretty
photos,
funny.
the photos weren't that sexy. They were cringeworthy, but the girls were, instructing it.
So you're saying you couldn't do that for OnlyFans? You couldn't just...
No, I wouldn't even do that for myself.
Do you have to get
Did you not
nude
think
to
that was
make
random?
money on OnlyFans? Does it like can you
Well, I don't
can you
know.
do it fully clothed and still make $1 or whatever?
Yeah, no, you can. You can
can?
actually. Oh, this is why I think
Who's
we
paying
should
for
actually.
non-nudes?
Well, you can do like uncut content, like behind the scenes of a podcast or behind the scenes of a radio show. Like what happens when the mic gets turned off.
Everything dodgy we
Oh my
say
God.
makes it into the podcast. There's nothing else that's uncut. You know what I mean?
But that's what OnlyFans originally was. It was only for people who are true fans of a certain thing, like a show or a TV host.
Right. It was a
whatnot.
peek
So you
behind
get like
the
an
curtain
insight into their life. Yeah.
right.
And now
but
Instagram does subscribers or whatever it is, subscriptions. Like,
are they doing their version of the same thing?
yeah, because they keep asking me, do I want to have subscribers or whatever? And I'm like, I can't even get content out.
Yep, she'll get a nip out for you.
Oh, I
No worries, Insta. Send us the money.
I will
Money
not.
for the honey.
No, oh my God.
Yeah.
No. I need a body double. One of those people who step in.
That's right.
Deborah.
Well, yeah, I pull off.
And Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
he had an arse double in a couple of his movies, I think, by memory. I think Daniel Craig had an arse double as well in Bond.
I feel like it would be much easier to have an ass double if you were a man. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Like, I got a
remember
couple
girl
of-
had an arse double. Who had an arse double?
Oh, I
Jennifer Aniston?
remember the chick from Jag? Oh, you won't remember that show because it's like,
That boring lady with dark hair?
She was a body double for like lots of big movies.
Oh, that was her job.
Yeah, she had a good body.
Today, the role of Tom Cruise's arse is being played by Brian.
Do you think you'd be happy if you were a body double? Like if that was your role? Do you think you'd be happy to be like, hey, I'm Tom Cruise's
That's a pretty cool
asshole?
story, man.
Yeah.
That's a good pub story. Well, you remember, I've seen Chris Hemsworth's body double, and
What did that look?
I met
what did he look
I
like?
met the body double for Angelina Jolie. What was the kick-ass movie she was in? Where she was like dressed in black and fighting everyone.
Oh, she looked really good in that. Can't remember. It was a video game.
Tomb Raider?
Yeah, Tomb Raider.
Tomb
that's
Raider,
right.
yeah. And yeah, she was an Australian stunt woman, and she was a karate expert, and she played the body double for her.
Who
Remember
would you
that day
get
I went to
be
the stunt school on the Gold Coast? She was there that day when they set me on fire and they threw me off a cliff.
Yeah, see, but only really good-looking people like have body doubles, don't you reckon?
Well, there's body doubles for, okay, you don't want to show your ass and someone's got a nicer ass, so we can get a close-up of that person's ass instead of your ass. But then there's the body doubles for stuff that's for stunts where they can't afford you to get hurt because, you're worth too much and the production stops and they lose a ton of money.
What if I had a body double for OnlyFans? And it was like Russell Coit, that handshaking.
Or it's someone else's
So you'd have
hand
to
in the
split
handshake.
the pay then, I think,
Yeah,
between you and the double.
Yeah, exactly. George,
good point.
set something up, brother. I want to see how this goes. Do a little bit of research. If you're open to this, and I certainly don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to do, but I feel like we need to play in the OnlyFans space, see what the hell it's about, and see what people are after. Can you make
Okay,
a
so
dollar
from
with your
this-
gear on? Isn't what I want to know. And then let's do some foot stuff as well, and see if what do people want in the feet.
So you're saying from this point forward, we are going to have a OnlyFans account that I will run connected to the podcast.
Okay. Yep.
If you're listening now, we'll probably pop like a link maybe in the
I
episode
don't know if it's
description.
for
of this.
our listeners as such. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're freaks. Maybe they want to get on board. I don't know. But I just want to do it as an experiment where we push you out into the world of OnlyFans to see how this shit works and what happens and what people are asking for and what gets them going nuts.
No,
what
but-
gets them crazy.
I will do anything for the podcast. I'm dedicated to this thing. Okay.
And then if
Done.
you're
It's happening.
comfortable with our listeners, like just go out there random, don't tell us what your name is, but if you're comfortable at some point and you want, the podcast listeners, that's okay for them to go and have a look, then we'll share your handle so they can come and find you if they really want. You know what I mean?
Our
But get
handle.
comfortable first.
What about if we send you, those photos where you take a photo of like your elbow
yes.
crease
You
and
squeeze
it's like
your skin when your elbow
Yeah.
crease and make it look like a vagina.
a vagina.
Yeah, I did say it weird. Then I did.
A vagina?
I don't know why I said vagina. Like it's a
Does
fajita.
not look like my vagina.
I took a photo of it on my leg one the other day.
I
Actually,
know.
someone reminded me.
I saw it on my photos.
I was racing at the Bathurst 12 Hour, and one of the drivers come up to me and goes, "You know, the last thing that you sent me was about 9 months ago," and he goes, "It was your folded leg, the skin in there where it looked like a vagina." And I went, "Far out, I'm immature." But he was laughing his head off.
Can I say this has been the most wholesome episode I think we have ever done?
I know, and considering the
Besides like the OnlyFans stuff,
Is it
like,
wholesome?
Majority,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
wholesome.
Was it? I don't know.
I guess there was a lot of niceness there.
Because I had a guest lined up. It was Hugh Jackman, and we forgot to ring him.
Oh, bloody Hugh. Yeah.
We'll have to ring him next week.
Like I just need to send him an apology or some flowers or a card.
God. No, I did have a guest lined up, but they dropped out, and I was thinking, what the hell are we going to talk about? But
If anyone out there runs into Hugh on the street, or a restaurant, like we were,
yes,
can you just let him know? Just say Grant and Shezzy just apologise for being weird as next to you.
No,
and
just
they didn't mean it.
tell him to ring in the podcast.
Oh, yeah, ring in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ring in the pod. That's better.
Yeah. Or follow George on OnlyFans. Whatever you want to
He
do.
might
Hugh.
like the
whatever you're into,
OnlyFans.
mate. He might like feet. I don't know.
I'll do some Wolverine content on there. So you get some claws out.
Oh, that's
classic.
funny.
Oh, good stuff.
It's Ultra OnlyFans coming at ya.
Woo!
Thanks for listening,
love it.
everyone. Wonderful to have your company as always. We look forward to hearing us from you. Next, what? I forgot how to sign off.
We don't know how to talk. Love you guys. Take
Love
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Shezzy Denya.
Bye